Welcome to another episode of Jacob's My South Jersey Journey. My guest tonight is one of my former teachers and very good friends, Mr. John White. Just a little backstory on our friendship. I met you the summer before I began my 8th grade year, and our friendship has taken off.
That's correct. Yep. How's it going, Jacob?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm still here. I'm still living, and we're getting by.
Yep. For those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So my name is John White. I'm from Galloway Township, New Jersey. I've called Galloway my home for the last 30 years or so. After graduating college in 2010, I became a health and physical education teacher at Ventnor Middle School in Ventnor, New Jersey. I worked there for 2 years. Upon leaving Ventnor, I earned a teaching job at Emma C. Atlee's Middle School in Absecon, New Jersey, teaching health and physical education. I've been there ever since, going into my 9th year in Absecon and 11th year total in education.
Holy, wow, I can't believe you've been in Absecon for almost a decade already. I'm
I
like,
know. Tell me about it. I
9
can't
years.
believe it either.
Where on earth did that flew?
Yeah. I
That
mean,
really flew. I mean, 9 years. Have I really been out of Absecon schools for 9 years?
just about, my man. Just about.
Somebody said to me, "You realize your 5 year reunion's coming up for high school in a few years." I said, "Are you kidding?" Well,
No.
yeah, count two. And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is."
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yep, time flies when we're having fun, and that's what life's all about. And
Absolutely.
so, who inspired you to become a teacher?
Great question. Great question. Wow. To think back on many influences, and I had many mentors and individuals who've inspired me to become a teacher. Um, so first and foremost, I would like to thank God every day for His blessings and His guidance, and always watching over me. Um, Probably one of the main influences would have to be my parents, who, although are not teachers, they definitely raised me with strong morals and values. They helped mold me into the man I am today, and I am forever grateful for their endless love and support. And probably another big influence in the direction of teaching would be one of my 6th grade teachers at Reeds Road Elementary School, Mr. Kevin McGloin. He is now the principal of Arthur Rand Elementary School in Galloway. Mr. McGloin had a phenomenal way of capturing the minds of his students. He truly cared about each and every one of us. He showed me how much a difference and an impact a teacher can make on the life of a child. To this day, some 20 plus years since having him in 6th grade, he still recognizes me uh, out and about in Galloway, and he shows a vested interest in my life and how I'm doing. Um, I will always be forever grateful for his wisdom, knowledge, love, and support.
Thank you for that very thoughtful response. I mean, yes, I have teachers like that too. You and other teachers that I've had over my 12 years in education, if you count high school and all the Athlete and Marsh
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I
all
mean,
the,
when you actually have the time to just sit and think back and reflect, um, you can really kind of broaden, who's was there to kind of guide you and give you that help and that, um, wisdom that you need.
and as I said to you the other day via text on Messenger, it's it's sad I only had you for a year, but in that year we had a lot of fun.
That we did, and as I recall, somewhat of my response was, you know, we were able to do so much in that one year, which really shows that you can make an impact on somebody's life for just after a short while. And look at where we're at now. How we were just saying, 10 plus years or so since I saw you that eighth grade summer before your eighth grade year, and that short amount of time, and we're still here, you know, kicking back and catching up and making jokes and having fun.
Having fun.
That's
And
it.
I still remember, uh, I don't remember where I was, but Miss Sapp, she found me somehow.
Hmm.
She goes, I want to introduce you to somebody. And I think I might have been in the office talking to Mr. Weber.
Talking, you were probably annoying him.
Yeah, I probably was annoying. Anyway, yeah, I probably was annoying him exactly, and and she found me and she said, "I want you, I want to introduce you to somebody," and she took me in that very tiny office
Hmm.
and she said, "This is Mr. Rogers' replacement," and since then it's taken off.
Since then, it's taken off.
And you had my sister
Yep.
for three 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, sixth
You
grade, seventh grade, and eighth grade.
you had my cousins for all four.
Uh huh.
One of which you, well, not in these circumstances, but
No, no, but
you
maybe
still could
maybe
next
by
year.
next year, maybe by next year when she's in eighth grade, we'll
Yeah,
be
maybe
back to
by next
normal.
year you'll get her back, but not now. And
Yeah,
what is that? Mr. Shoulder is taking over. Well,
yeah.
took over.
Mr. Shoulder is currently teaching the entire district uh, health and phys ed.
And that's I've heard there's a lot of changes around the school.
Yeah, just in general, with making sure that we're following the guidelines and the protocols that are set in place, having the available staff to be able to educate the students that are in person while following those protocols, and just having people moved around and just really trying to still provide that quality education that we have established years and years ago as one of the top middle schools in South Jersey and in New Jersey.
Right? I'm seeking when the 11 years I was there was always
Hmm.
recognized as one of the top schools in Atlantic County.
Yep, Absecon's finest.
Yes. So and numbers. My third question leads into a little bit of what you just said. Normally, as we stated in the beginning, you're a health and physical education teacher, but with the pandemic, you've been moved to fifth grade. Tell us about some of the changes you've encountered during this transition.
Ooh, changes, lots of changes. Um, Yeah, so currently I am co-teaching fifth grade math and language arts, as well as teaching an inclusion math class, both in person and virtually. There are and have been many changes that not only I have, but teachers all around the country, the state, and the county um, are faced with. So some of the changes, me personally, that I have had to kind of endure, or what we like to say in our At Least family is adapt, adjust, and overcome. So some of those changes would be wearing the mask, and social distancing is definitely an obstacle while teaching. Um, Trying to be as verbal as we can to the students and vice versa so that we can hear them clearly and understand the meaning behind our conversations. Um, Going back and for me personally, kind of relearning math and language arts terminologies that I haven't dealt with in many, many years. In addition to learning the new skills and concepts that are being taught today as compared to when I was a kid. The way I've done things from and where I was taught growing up is not the same as what the students are learning nowadays. So it's kind of like I'm the teacher and I'm the student at the same time in some aspects. Um, another kind of obstacle that I'm currently kind of trying to navigate through would be teaching my virtual students. When people are asked like, what is it like to teach kids virtually, and it's tough, it's difficult. There's always obstacles and challenges that are faced, not just with our technology but with students uh, coming to class and being prepared and being ready for class. um, Not having them in school is very difficult for them and for me and for us teachers. There's a lot of unknown factors that come into play. But ultimately, as educators, we're always trying to provide the best learning educational environment that we can, so that all of our students can be successful. And even though we are currently in a state of chaos and unknown, we want our students to know we care about them and that we're always here for them, not just this year, but for the rest of our lives, as kind of what we've established, that bond and that friendship, you and I. I had you for 1 year, and still 9, 10 years later, we still have that friendship, that bond. I'm not necessarily your teacher anymore, but we've kind of grown throughout the years, and we've built up that friendship, and I'm grateful that I can always call you a friend, and I can always, we can pick up where we left off if we don't talk for some time, and we're right back at it, kind of going through the motions.
Yeah, and I thank you too, because it's nice that you have, like you and I, or whomever really, and back to your response about teaching virtually. I went through it
Hmm.
last year. Is it fun? No. Sucks.
Yeah, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Uh, and my sister, who's a sophomore at Temple, she says, they're not teaching you, you're teaching yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
and I will tell her you said hello.
Oh,
She's a,
absolutely. You
she's
better.
actually, I will. She's actually coming home for a few days tonight.
Awesome.
So I will see her, and
Appreciate that.
I will play. I might play this back for her. Um, So next question, where did you attend college?
Well, that that one I got a couple of them there for you. So, um, right after high school, I started out my college educational journey down in East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina. I left in my freshman year. I just felt more comfortable being closer to home, and having the availability and the resources that were uh, around home in New Jersey. So I came home and I finished my college education in 2010 from Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey. I graduated with a dual degree in health and exercise science, with a focus on K to 12 um, education, health and physical education teacher. And I also have a certification in special ed, which allows me to kind of even broaden outside of the health and the PE world and broaden kind of some of those skills and reach more of the students that I can.
So, off your statement about special ed, is that how you got to teach fifth grade? Because I know you have the PE K to 12, but I know PE is just one part of the
Yeah,
story.
yeah. So having that certification um, was very valuable, and it was a big influence on me starting my educational career at Ventnor. It really helped me get my foot in the door, and kind of make my way through and kind of learn and grow from that school and then into Absecon. And then this year, still having that certification and allowed me to kind of be utilized in other areas, not just in the health classroom or even in the gymnasium for PE. It allowed me to kind of be utilized elsewhere, especially now when needed.
Um, no, this isn't a question on here, but where did you do your student teaching?
Great question. Great question. So, with a health and PE degree, we're K to 12, as mentioned. So, we had to do two different student teaching placements, one either at the elementary and another at the middle or high school level. So, we had to do one of both. So, I did about 8 weeks or so, 8 to 10 weeks of my first placement was in elementary school. It was in Pleasantville at Washington Avenue School. Um, and I worked with children from K to 5. And then my second placement right after that was another 8 to 10 weeks. I was over in Egg Harbor Township at Fernwood Avenue Middle School, where I was working with students in grades 6, 7th, and 8th. And then while I was there, I did spend the last about 6 weeks or so of the school year at Fernwood doing a student teaching in special education.
Oh wow! So you did, so you went from PE 3/4 of the year, and then did a special ed cert.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So I know it's a little different now, but back when I was going through my student teaching, we only did it for a semester, which is about mine ran from January to June, uh, and I think now they try to get student teachers into a school in September, and they start some placements and some things there in the fall, and then they'll do the student teaching in the spring. But they're at the same school for the entire year, which is very beneficial for them to see and go through an entire school year at the same place.
Right, because in high school, I can think of one. She was, she started the year as a science teacher. She taught biology for whatever the semester was, might have been September to December,
Mm-hmm.
and then they made her, I can't remember, either a substitute or they made her an English teacher or something.
Yeah.
They they put her in some like something where she really wasn't aware of her. Uh, I mean, she knew what she was doing, but she didn't, not her regular territory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like like they'll just put you anywhere, and I mean, because it's probably all changed now, right? Because they don't, do they, like for Absecon, for example, do they have any student teachers?
That's to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I don't see why not, because it's not like the student teachers and not like their education just stops. But that's a good question, and I know I'm sure that if there are any, they have to go through a process, and they still have, just like us teachers every day coming to school, following the protocols and everything to keep everybody safe and healthy.
Is it hard, like for example, teaching virtually? Do you have to teach in person and virtual at the same time?
Me, no, I don't do that at the same time, which in its own self would present a lot of challenges. I know some fellow colleagues of mine in other districts, they do have to do that. I think just a virtual alone is challenging, and it's a roller coaster of emotions. One day everything's going well, then the next day they're not, and then it's just always ever changing. But I do like I do like having students in the building, kind of interacting. I think they need that interaction and that support and that one-on-one. Whereas when we were in the unknown at the end of the school year last year, just completely being all virtual from our own homes, it was very challenging to reach the kids and to really get a grasp on if they're really learning and understanding what we're trying to teach.
And yeah, like I said in the beginning, from March until June, thank God it was my last year. Not that the education wasn't hard or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching, like I said, teaching yourself. They give you a packet that's 5 to 6 pages thick, and then you gotta be the one to figure out the math, figure out, and you're and they say if you need help, ask. But it's like it's like I think I can figure this one out. But
Yeah, yeah.
like, how was it teaching PE virtually?
Oh,
Physically
oh,
physically challenging, I would
oh
guess.
man, it was definitely difficult because again, and we didn't really have a lot of the technology things down to a degree, especially me. Um, so I really didn't see the kids, even through a Google Meet or anything. I didn't really see them, and just trying to navigate through. Let's see, I had half of the school, so that was about 200 students that I was responsible for, and just trying to provide assignments and learning and keep track of all that on a daily basis. I think I worked more from March 17th until the end of the year with just constantly checking Google Classroom and answering emails and calling families for help. And I think it was definitely challenging. It
Yeah.
was tough.
Yes. And my mom said the same thing, as on a totally different level as you, but speech therapy. She said they have their assigned times, but do they show up?
Hmm.
It's a whole.
And then just in general, the technology issues that we were dealing with, as far as not getting internet service or not having a working Chromebook, or the sharing devices among family members. That was in itself its own problems.
I much, I much prefer. If I had a choice between the two, I much prefer Zoom because I can see you clearly through the screen. When you're in a meet, sometimes it gets fuzzy.
Yeah.
I
Oh wait,
find.
am I supposed to be seeing you? I don't see you at all. I'm just talking. Oh, there you are. There
Ah,
you
there
are.
we
Oh,
go.
only kidding. Only kidding.
Uh, my next question: do you have any hobbies?
Well, I guess I just like to sit around and do nothing after work. It's pretty boring, right?
Right,
No,
but I know
no,
that's not you.
no. Of course, that's not me. Especially, I think that would be a total, kind of oxymoron there if I am a health and PE teacher and I do absolutely nothing. Um, but yeah, I do. I have a lot of hobbies, things that I like to do. Mostly staying active, working out and staying in shape, and um, things like spending time with family and friends. That's very important to me because, again, we don't know how much time we're here. We don't know when the last time we're going to see somebody, and it's always good to kind of catch up. And even if it is virtually through a screen, we still have that ability to see each other and talk to each other. I like to play golf. I like to play competitive volleyball and softball. I like to travel as much as I can, see different parts of the U.S. and the world. Going off of what I had mentioned a little bit ago, you only live once. So you have to make the most of this one life on Earth. And kind of just came to my mind about 5 years ago. I had the opportunity to travel out west and check out, the Grand Canyon and some other major national parks and do some hiking and to see the atmosphere and the surrounding beauty of the earth, which was still part of the U.S., which we don't have over here on the East Coast. It was definitely a worthwhile trip and something that I'm glad I did. But yeah, so there's lots of hobbies that I like to kind of get myself involved with.
Yeah, and that's just the thing. I mean, right now we can't travel. I mean, as sad as this sounds, I haven't seen part of my mom's side of the family since last Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
who and I mean we of course we planned on seeing each other more. Nobody could have predicted that March 17th the world was going to shut down.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember I was it was either getting ready to leave the a doctor or the hospital or something, and I remember just hearing Virginia's shutting down for the year. This state shutting down. I thought, only a matter of time before New Jersey shuts down.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sure enough,
that was definitely surreal and kind of unexpected. And like you said, we went in on or we were talking about it on a Friday, and then teachers reported on a Monday to get their things, and then that was it, and then we were gone.
yeah, that was it. I was not in school that last day, but I remember hearing just the general concern for the students because you you it goes bam, you're in person. The next day here comes this new virtual world that we all
Mhm.
have to adapt to, and no one, I mean, I don't think anyone thought we would go on 4 months and finish the last half of the year the way we did.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely not. I
because,
agree.
because I expected, oh, I'm gonna graduate from special services on time in June.
Mhm,
Things are gonna be great. Well, no, they had a graduation for us, which I'm very thankful for,
mhm.
but it was in July and we were under tens and masks, of course.
Yeah, definitely didn't think. I thought maybe a week or two, and then we're into our spring break, and then once we get back from spring break, it'll be somewhere around the middle to end of April. I thought we'd be back at it, and then as we got later in the year, it was pushed back, and next it was a couple weeks into June, and that was it.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean right away. I think the board of trustees at the Field of Dreams contacted me March 26th. I don't know why I remember that date, but March 26th to say, okay, there will be no spring. And I mean, as as sad as that hurts to hear it,
Hmm.
it's the first time we've ever heard it. That's all we've ever known. And, I did 16 springs in a row. And
Yeah,
then that and it's like, really? Like,
yeah. Then it really sinks in, and it really becomes reality.
yeah, here we are. No spring. Yeah, like you said, no Cedar Creek. What was that canceled almost immediately, right?
Yeah, yeah, we got we started March 1st with practices, and we were able to get in maybe a week, maybe a little bit more than a week and a half of practices, and then that was it.
Uh, yeah, because I had people from ACIT contacting me to say, what do we do? Or
Hmm.
we can't have a season, and I'm like, you know what? Come out anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily matter to me if you've had a season or not.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, uh, I I know you're a health and PE teacher, but do you coach any sports on the side?
Well, yeah, you know that I coach baseball, but I'll do a quick rundown of basically my school year. Along with teaching, coaching is I'm very passionate about coaching. Um, just helping young minds grow and improve, and really maximizing their potential outside of the classroom as a student athlete. Um, is a very big passion of mine that I hold dear. So I do coach 3 sports throughout the school year. In the fall time, I coach cross country at our middle school at Lee's Middle School. In the winter time, I coach a volleyball team at the middle school, which we were just approved, and we played our first ever volleyball season at Atlee's last winter. And, the unfortunate circumstances is that also kind of got cut short um, because of the COVID pandemic. But, it was great to add another sport to the district and to allow kids to kind of show off and showcase their talents outside of the classroom representing MSC Atlees. And then in the springtime, again, as you know, I coach baseball at Cedar Creek High School. I've been there roughly 6 years now, coaching the high school guys some baseball, and just baseball is always a passion of mine. Growing up, and to be able to kind of relay the knowledge and the skills and things that I was blessed with, and pass those on to those guys is very valuable for me.
And to piggyback off of the things that you do at Atlees, there's, well, obviously not now, but is there still lip sync?
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, not this year. We'd actually be probably just started our kind of our tryouts and our practices, because as you know, it always is in November. Great fundraiser that we have for our sports teams at Atlees. But yeah, we still do the lip sync, and it's ever changing too. Sometimes we'll have a lot of participants, sometimes we won't. But the amount of effort the kids put in and just the final product is always it's always special. And each year it's even better than the last. And kids do a great job with that. And it's not easy. I know getting on stage at a middle school age student is not, fun, but they do a really good job, and it's one that I look forward to each year.
And yeah, I mean, you remember I sat at that judge's table, and I sat at that judge's table for all 4 years, and I mean, I did a couple little routines in between, but I helped with judging, and it's very hard to get up there. I give the kids a lot of credit and courage to get up there and do it, because it's not easy. And
Yeah.
you only have, what is it, 2 minutes? What's the length of the routine?
It's about 2 minutes. We try to keep it around 2 minutes.
And another one of my favorites, Gym Show. Is that still a thing?
Gym show. I guess it's been probably about 5 years since we last had a gym show.
I know. I came back to watch one.
Yeah.
I came back 1 year, but I remember Gym Show. I remember you had me as what was the theme the 1 year? Idol, I think. It was.
Yeah, the American Idol or something.
And I was a judge. I mean,
Yeah.
I did Team Challenge.
Exactly.
It's sad that we don't. I mean, you guys don't have that anymore.
No, I mean, I know it was a big staple in the Epseekin in the Atlees school for many years. Just like with a lot of things that you see, it kind of just started to run its course. And I know the meaning behind the gym show years and years ago with Mr. Greb and then Mr. Rogers. That kind of started to evolve and change when I took over. And it wasn't so much, I felt like it was more of like gymnastics. We got a lot of gymnastics, which is great by all means. On the juggling portion and the team challenge and stuff, that was all good. But the number of students that actually would participate year after year, that started to decrease. And so we decided to Mrs. Sapp and I decided to start a volleyball club and get kids interested in the sport of volleyball. And after about 4 or 5 years of running the club, we were fortunate enough, thanks to our board of education and our administration, that we were able to start a volleyball team last year and compete against other local middle schools.
But yeah, it's just sad too. I mean, the traditions. Jim Show
Hmm.
was an Absecon tradition for God 30 at least
Yeah.
30 plus years, because my maybe even going back as far as my dad remember that. I know my aunt and uncle do, but
Hmm.
I mean, you know, just as I said, the tradition of it. And yeah, I mean, I mean, things change, time changes,
Hmm.
and it. You were right. I remember that last year that I did it, and then I came back to watch a year after, and I mean, it was a great show and all, but the dynamics of the show changed,
Yes. Yes.
and it's. I mean, yeah, things come and go, but things that people look forward to, and I know Jim Show was always a big alumni. A lot of the alumni would come back.
Yeah. Which is good though. I mean, too, as we have our memories of those shows, and that always brings back lots of smiles and conversations, and things like that.
Yeah, and it's very similar to ACIT. They have their Mr. Red Hawk
Okay. Yeah.
competition, which is all male performers doing like a Miss America routine on a high school level, and it's funny to see them come out and perform and do all those like
Yeah.
Miss
The
America esque.
different talents and that they can showcase and things like that.
And I've sat there and judged it. I'm sitting there at the back table scoring 1 to 10. I don't know how to. I got told you're scoring way too high. I said,
So you weren't like a Simon. You weren't, the kind of the mean, hard scoring judge, huh?
no, I wasn't. I wasn't a Simon, but funny story on the Simon. Before you came, I would sit there, and it was Miss Sapp and Mrs. Bell, and I don't remember who the other judges were for lip sync. And they would go at the end. They would go, Simon, you have anything to say? I mean, yeah, it's time goes on,
That's right.
and my last, well, this may not be my last question. Were you an athlete in high school or college?
Well, I think following the path that I took throughout college and then into my career. Yes, I was an athlete of just about every sport growing up. Getting outside and just playing games and just learning games was what we did as a kid. But when I got to Apsagami High School, I decided to play football my freshman year for the first time. I've never played football in a league setting. It was a lot of fun. Um, but the whole pads and the things, it wasn't for me. But I did enjoy it, and I did learn a lot from that sport, which I can transition into my other sports. Um, and then ultimately I wanted to focus all of my attention throughout the school year on my main passion, which was baseball. And at Absegami, I played baseball all 4 years. And in college, I didn't, since I moved around from a couple different colleges, I didn't really settle into, getting back into the athletics. I did play on some club teams for volleyball and things like that in college, but never a main school team. And primarily, my focus was education when I got to college. Is do well, get good grades, and use that as a stepping stone for your future. So I value that at a lot higher than the athletics.
I mean, yeah, I mean, my sister will tell you she does crew, but she's kind of in the same boat as you were, and I would say as a lot of college students were and are
Hmm.
the ones that will be are watching this. You want to college is your last step of education, and you want to make it count because whatever the field of choice is, you want to show and do well.
Yes,
So you,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and for those that are blessed with that ability to be able to manage and prioritize your time, to be able to play a sport in college at the collegiate level, as well as maintain your academics. My hat goes off to you, because that's not something that is easy to do. I know I was around a lot of athletes at Rowan, and just their daily grind of practices and workouts, and then when the season came, and all on top of maintaining their grade point average and their good grades. Definitely something that is not easy to do, and it takes a lot of focus and determination, and for them to be successful.
yeah, and just as you say, the ones that go early practice in the morning, do your academics during the day. Some of you have practices at night.
Mhm.
Just as you said, my hat goes off to you because you're basically you're going 16 hours a day, if not more,
Mhm.
and then you're by the time that ends, you're exhausted. So
Yeah,
my
and the one takeaway too that I'm seeing as through education, I'm seeing a lot of students that they're taking that for granted, and they're not really realizing the amount of work that they need to put in um, to get better and to improve. And you know uh, the generations that are coming through, and that have come through, there's a lot that you know they think it should be handed to them. They think they should be, just because they step on a field, that they should be a starter, or things like that. And they don't understand yet, hopefully at some point in their life that they do, um, the hard work, the blood, sweat, and the tears that it takes to earn those spots, and to and to improve and be among those elite.
and and just as you said, and it's really, I mean, it's sad for the generations that are uh, ahead of me, not so much my sister's generation, but the generations that are ahead. They think, oh, this should be handed to me. No, you gotta work at it. It's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna come to you like that.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And it's like I said, it's sad that people think that that it's okay. And truthfully, um, that's not how you're going to lead a successful life. You got to put yourself out there and just strive forward and you'll get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you'll get
uh,
there.
I mean, I'll I'll use myself as an example. I graduated in July. I I I was ready to go back to work by September. Hey, because of the nature things were.
Mhm.
I waited. I finally said, you know what? I want to see what's out there on Indeed to see if something, excuse me, fit what I wanted to do, fit what I knew I could do,
Mhm.
and I looked. Couple people turned me turned me down, said they're not interested. But hey, that's when you look for other opportunities. I must have sent, I don't know how many emails. I know I sent my resume to a couple people and I'm seeking, just saying, if you know of anything, keep your eyes open. Keep your
Yeah.
eyes and ears open.
Yeah, and exactly. And I mean, you could have taken um, those non-offers and you could have just used them as an excuse and kind of given up and just called it quits really easily. But no, you use that as determination. You use that as fuel to continue to branch out and put yourself out there, because ultimately, the only one who's going to benefit from all of that hard work and that preparation is you. And the only one who you have to blame if things don't go well is you. And I think that's really big as a teaching focal is, um, you are in control and you have no one else to blame. You have no one else to congratulate but you when things go well for you.
And people. It might. I knew it wasn't you. I know it wasn't you, but someone in Absecon said to me in my eighth grade year, "We're here to help you get to the next step, but we're not here to hold your hand
Abs-
necessarily." And that's
Absolutely.
true. But I knew what was ahead of me, and I mean, I've gotten like part-time volunteer like offerings virtually because of the nature of the way things are. But um, I've taken them, and I know I'll go back to work in March. I have offerings down the line.
Hmm.
Just gotta wait, play the waiting game, and
That's
be
it.
patient.
Yep. Be
Because
patient and things will fall into place.
I mean, I could probably ask you this right now. You you probably didn't know Absecon was going to line up for you 9 years ago.
No, no. I mean, I was, like I said earlier, I was in Ventnor. I spent 2 years there, and uh, just knowing Miss Sapp from her son, growing up with her sons, was kind of always in the loop about when the possibility of Mr. Rogers retiring, and then when he finally retired, um, you know, the opportunity, was there for me to apply and go through the interview process, and I very easily could have, not been asked to come back for a second interview, but in the way that it was and it worked out that I came for a second interview, and then ultimately was the one who was awarded the job with about 70 or 75 applicants, that went in for the interview process. That got narrowed down to three. I was fortunate to be one of those three, and then look at where we're at now. I was the one who got the job, and we're almost 10 years later in the same role and capacity in the great school of Embassy Atlees.
Wow, I didn't know all that. 75, there were 75 applicants for Mr. Rogers' position.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so like I could have very easily just been discouraged about that and said, "There's no shot. I'm not going to make it." But ultimately, you never know until you try. And if you
Exactly.
and if you fall down and you fail, you get back up and you try harder, and you keep trying until you're successful, until you find the results that you want to seek.
Did did you did you ever meet Mr. Rogers?
Yes,
I'm
yes, I
sure
met
you
him.
did.
Yes,
Yes.
I met him a few times. He was one who was always back for the gym shows as well, and he was also back. He liked to stop by at some of the cross country meets that we had. Um, it was good to kind of uh, converse with him and kind of get an understanding of kind of some of the things that worked for him at Atlees, and take those and change them into what would work for me.
Right? I mean, yeah, I know how it is with a lot of retired teachers. You don't, a lot of times you don't meet your successor. So,
Yes, I was very
so
very
it's
fortunate.
good that you got to converse with him
Hmm.
and you could both be on, okay, this is what he did. You could do the same things or interchange them to your own to best benefit yourself.
Yep, exactly, 100%.
So is obviously not now, but is your office still that little corner?
Yes, it is. It's still right there by the end of the boys' locker room. I got the office space that I used to once share many moons ago with Mr. Lopez. And,
Correct.
yeah,
One
we
of
uh,
my,
we had some good times, me and him and you, huh?
we had some very good
I
times.
mean, I don't know if I want to spill the beans on some of the stories. I'll keep
You
those.
could you could tell some stories,
I'll keep
don't
those
tell them
between
all.
us because I don't want to embarrass you too much in front of your fans. But
No, you can tell. I'll let you tell one story.
one story. Oh man, that's gonna be a tough one. Hmm. Hmm. I will say it's not so. I will say it was very enjoyable. Playing some of those Wii games with you, having that time with you and Nick, and
Yes,
kind of getting after it in a sports competitive way, but to that degree on the technology end, it was a lot of fun.
yes, we did. We did have a lot of fun, and like I said in the beginning, and I said a couple times, it's a shame that I only had you for the year that I had. But look at us
Yeah,
now.
but we got to take that as a blessing because we still were able to have that one year, and the fruits the seeds were planted, and look at us now. Look at the growth, and look at the friendship um, that we've maintained.
Correct. And when you said to me in the beginning, how many years has it been? I'm like 9 years already. Holy.
I know you're making me feel really old there, Jacob.
But
That's why I'm standing far. That's why I'm sitting far apart so that you can't really see all the gray hair up there, probably.
I, I mean, I think it was SAP last year sent me a text last year was 10 years since you were in fifth grade. I said, oh, wow. Just fun. It's just funny how time flies.
Yes, you're right. You got that right. And, to that end, especially in this crazy world that we're in, we really want to stop and look around us and be grateful for what we have and the blessings that we have, and to kind of really live each moment to the best of our ability, because we don't know what's in our future. And like you said, time flies, and next thing you know, you're going to be old like me and kind of trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah, well, like what's next? Like what's next? And that's that's the question. Like what's next? What's the future looking like? I mean, I know I know what I want to do with my life. It's just this pandemic world has to slow down.
It put it on hold for a little bit, right?
Yeah, yeah. I like I said, I thought I'd be back to work by September. Well, that didn't happen. Yeah, I mean, what is Mr. Lopez up to now? Is he still a cop?
Yeah, yes, he is. I actually just ran into him yesterday. He's still a cop. He's a canine cop for Galloway Township, and they last May, June, they had a boy. So he's got a little baby boy. So he's doing the cop and the dad life, and cute little guy that he has there.
Yeah, he is cute. I haven't seen him in quite some time, but I do follow him on social media.
So wait, you're saying Mr. Lopez is cute?
And
I'm gonna tell him that one. He's probably gonna come back with a response like, "Oh, Jacob, was he awake when he said that, or was he sleeping?"
yeah, he used to bust on me all the time about falling asleep.
Yeah, I
Wake
wasn't
up.
sure. I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it out of my teaching career all the way back many moons ago, because I would have people falling asleep in my class and not really learning anything, and that doesn't look good on me as a teacher.
Mm. No, no, it doesn't look good on a teacher. If you got a student fall asleep, they could come to you and say, well, you got to get your students awake,
Yeah.
including one, and they could look at me right away.
Yeah. Good thing I had Mr. Lopez here, give you a little nudge every now and then to keep you
Yeah,
on task.
yeah, keep me in line, keep me awake for some reason. I didn't drink coffee at the time, so that couldn't help.
Uh,
I mean, I still don't drink coffee, but I'm much better than I used to be. But I will have to. I mean, I've got myself into a routine basically now.
that's good. That's good.
When to
Routines,
go to
routines are
bed,
good to
like
have. Yeah.
don't stay up late on weeknights
Oh, so
because
yeah, wait, it's almost 8 o'clock. Isn't that bedtime?
no, not yet.
Not yet. All right, all right. You kind of graduated to 8:30.
Yeah, I graduated to 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Uh, uh,
Oh,
uh, yeah, yes, I graduated till 8:30 or 9 o'clock. So since you're teaching now, you have to be in there early, right? Because of virtual.
um, normal time as years past. I had to be there by no later than 7:40. I usually get in there around 7 to 7:25 ish, somewhere around there is when I usually get in. Um, And then my morning with fifth grade is all in person. I have my classes that the students that are in school until about 12:30, and then I have an afternoon virtual class.
And I know I don't know the teacher that you're with.
Yes, you do.
I do. I do.
Hmm.
Who are you? Who are you with?
You should. Do you remember? Do you remember Mrs. Martella,
Yes.
Mrs. Flynn? Now
Yes.
that's who I'm teaching with.
Oh wow! Tell her I said hello.
I will. I
Be-
will. Maybe
because
maybe if she sees this video, she'll see your hello right there too.
yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm working with Mrs. Flynn, and then the rest of the fifth grade team is Mrs. Bell,
right. I remember her.
Mrs. Keeney,
Right.
Mrs. Sharpley.
I don't.
She
Did she?
started. She started a couple years after you left. Um, along with our team is Mrs. Whitmer, Mrs. Vasallo, and who I work with in my inclusion class is Mrs. Caputo.
Oh, and that's your what? That's your in-person math class.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yep.
So what is it like? Team teaching almost?
With Mrs. Flynn, it is like team teaching. Yep, going back and forth and kind of piggybacking off one another. And then in my inclusion class, I have one student, and it's just me in the classroom. So it's just me and him, working on some math. And then later in the day, I have a virtual class where it's just me and four students on the computer. And then at the end of the day, I'm back with Mrs. Flynn, and we're doing a virtual language arts class. So I'm on the computer in my office, and she's on the computer in her room. And then we have our students pop on from their home.
Oh wow! But like we said, it's got to be hard teaching virtually because they can't come to you and say, Mr. White, I need help. Like they
Yeah,
have to ask for help through the computer.
yeah, it's definitely a challenging aspect to the virtual teaching and the virtual learning.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Especially at the fifth grade level where they just came from the Marsh School. Whereas in years past, I've known pretty much every student from the time they walk in there fifth grade until the time they leave, like the back of my hand. So it's definitely different seeing a bunch of new faces and not really knowing too much about them. But we've been getting a lot more comfortable, and we're kind of growing as a fifth grade team um, through this process together.
Well, well, some of them might know you, say if they have older siblings or
Yes.
what.
Yep, absolutely. Some of them do, and then they really, right now, they're like, "Oh, I thought, aren't you like the gym teacher?" And I said, "Well, in the normal circumstances, I would be, but obviously, we're not in a normal circumstance right now."
So what did I know you told me this, so but just for people know, what did they do to where is Miss Sapp now? She's
Yep.
Marsh.
Miss Sapp is down teaching ESL to grades kindergarten to second.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
So they moved her down a couple grade levels,
Mhm.
but she knows like the little kids because I think she did ESL for she's done ESL before.
She's done it in the summer, yeah, for summer school.
Hopefully you two will be reunited next year. Cross your
Yep.
fingers.
Hopefully that's the case. Because if that is the case, then there's a lot of other things, outside of the education, outside of the schooling, that's starting to kind of come back to somewhat of a normalcy, if you will.
Were you were you two the only ones that were moved, or were other people moved?
No, there was a good amount of people that were moved again, just trying to utilize people as best we can with their degrees and their certifications, and meeting the needs of the amount of in-class learners that we have, and following those guidelines and the protocols set forth, um, and and having the students get the best quality education that they can under our current circumstances.
Yeah, and I mean that's the ultimate goal all the time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, with so many changes in the educational system, I remember saying to my mom this summer, I said, I give you all credit for teaching in times like these, because I got the last quarter of it, and let me tell you, it's not enjoyable. It's
No,
more.
absolutely. And those words, your words are very appreciative, and I know it goes a long way, and we don't hear it all the time. Not that we're looking for any accolades or anything, but just knowing that we're appreciated, and that we're thanked, and for the work that we do. I think that kind of helps to just keep us going and keep us getting stronger, and keeps the wheels going.
So like, for example, they moved Broomhead and Shoulder, for example. They're teaching what, the entire building?
They're teaching the entire district.
Like, uh, how are their special blocks?
That's a great question. You'd
Like,
That'd be
like,
something that they would have to answer for you.
like, it's teaching gym virtually from home. I Before you told me they moved you, I thought, how in the world is he going to teach them
Uh,
from their homes?
it was a struggle for Miss Sapp and I last year. It was at the end of the year, but the good thing is at least we were able to get almost three quarters of the school year completed in person, and we only had to deal with a little bit. Whereas now we're starting fresh, and we're starting with the whole entire school year. A little bit more challenging, to say the least.
It, what is the exact ratio for in person and virtual? Like, is it even? Is it less?
In person, there's a little bit more in person. I think you're looking at about 10 to 12 in-person kids in a class per teacher. And virtual varies depending on the grade level and things. But I think virtual, you're looking at anywhere from like five to 10 possibly in a class, um, per teacher. Just taking that overall about that 20 to 24 student range, and it's kind of cut in half, just about.
Mm. Oh, yeah. But my mom said in her district, like, a lot of them have um, gone back to the virtual versus the in person.
Yeah, there is a lot that chose the virtual, which, in a way, it's good because we wouldn't be able to house every single student in person. But then again, it's bad because they're not getting the exact same type of education as best as we can do. Just not being in the building and being present, and learning from the teacher firsthand, and learning from the classmates and their peers. They don't really get that same type of environment.
Like like tomorrow, for example, since it's all virtual, can you teach from home, or do you have to go in the building?
For our district, we're going to the building. So all the students will be at home, and all the teachers will be reporting to school and teaching from their classrooms.
I just wasn't sure if, like, they let some of you from like mixed it. Some of you could be from home if you wanted, and so.
I think personally, after dealing with the end of the school year last year, I'd rather get up, go to school, and work from school, and have the climate and the resources right there on my hand, if needed. And we don't have that same here, from right here in um, my living room here. It's not the same. I don't have a whiteboard back here. I don't have all my supplies, and they can't really kind of get that same grasp, that same concepts,
Right.
as they could have if I was in the building.
Like you can't teach multiplication from the wall.
No, no,
No.
and I only have so many fingers.
Right. So, for example, what are you teaching them now as far as math goes?
Well, we just finished a unit for fifth grade. We followed the curriculum. The unit that we just went through since the beginning of school started. We're dealing with multiplication. We're dealing with division. We're finding area of rectangles, and then we're finding the volume of rectangular prisms, and different things along that before we move into our next unit.
Right. And like my one of my questions to you was how has the teaching changed?
Mhm.
And that's just it, math. That's got to be one of the hardest subjects, I would think, because now how you would teach long division necessarily
Mhm.
has completely changed. You basically you can't change the way you teach addition and subtraction. That would
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So yeah, trying to learn those and grasp those concepts and understand how it is that the students are to learn um, those skills, because otherwise, if I'm teaching them kind of the ways that maybe I was raised and taught as a child, it might be harder for them to understand, or that might confuse them. So yeah, definitely getting those concepts down, and trying to just do the best that we can to get them to be successful.
like yeah, like when you first started, for example, like the teachers had, did they have to show you necessarily how to teach them, or did you have to figure out?
No, I mean we got pointers, and we got some guidance, but ultimately each teacher is different, and they're going to take what they've learned and kind of spin it and create their own way about it. Um, as long as they're following the same curriculum and the same um, steps in the process, it's really just kind of unique to their own abilities.
Yeah, and what what do they know? Because you don't know how the previous teacher taught them, say in fourth grade or third grade.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
Everyone's teaching style is
Yep.
different. So I'm glad you're well. This was fun.
It was
But I haven't seen you since
since
God. It hasn't been 2 springs.
yeah, it was
Um,
last year in 2019.
I'll tell you, it was the last. It was the last picture that I have on Facebook. That's
Yeah.
probably the last time I saw you. It was probably the last picture I have. Was probably the last time I saw you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this one this one that's in my my background right here. Right? See if I can
Oh
get.
yeah, there we are.
Yep, that was a great day. Yep.
Yeah, that was fun. We if we have a season again, we we can do app seeking again because honestly, this year I haven't said this to anyone yet. So, board members, if you're watching this, I mean, I would like to invite the ones that really worked when we had the seasons
Yeah.
because there were a couple. Um, they were okay. They weren't as say enthusiastic about helping as say you guys or a couple of the other schools were.
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard. I mean, if you've never done it, that's a whole other story. But I mean, if you don't, and I think sadly, for a couple of them, especially the kids at the high school level, is the kids that you get. Some of them get paired with because not everybody's as easy as say me or Steven. Some of them are very hard.
Yeah. Oh, you're a handful. What are you talking about?
I'm
Oh man.
a handful. I require so much.
I go and you know and run people over and throw the bat and man, I've seen you. You're like a wild man around those bases.
Tag people out.
Yeah. Throwing the ball at people when they're not looking and yeah.
Throwing the ball at the pitcher when they're
I'm
not
always
looking.
telling my colleagues or when we bring the baseball guys from Creek, I'm always saying watch out for this guy right here, Hackett. He's a wild man.
I'm I'm a little rough around the bases.
Rough around the edges.
Rough around the edges. Hopefully, we like I said,
I
because
just
the parents have even sent me texts, Facebook messages, emails, how much they miss it. I said, "Hello, you're looking at me. I miss it too."
yeah,
There's no work for the Facebook page. I don't know what to do, and they're sending me things. Oh, can you put this up? Sure.
yeah,
I mean, it's just it's it's hard.
absolutely. Listen, before this gets all ruined, because my battery is going to die, unfortunately. Um, we'll definitely do this again soon. Maybe not to the point where we have to record, but we'll definitely catch up soon.
Yeah. Oh, I like this. This is fun.
Jacob, I appreciate you having me on your show, on your interview talk show host here. It's truly an honor and a privilege, bud. Uh,
Thank
you've,
you. Thank you for being
you've
one of
always
my.
had a special place in my heart since that first day I met you. Continue to stay well. Keep striving to be your very best, and don't ever lose your sense of humor and your jokes. Um, and again, I hope we get to catch up sooner rather than later, bud.
And I hope we can actually see each other in person and not through a screen like
Absolutely,
this
but
because this is nice, but
yeah, but at least we
seeing
have this
people
opportunity.
actually in person is fun. But
Yeah, but at least we have this opportunity. It's better than
yeah,
nothing.
we can do this again. Let me know and unrecorded, of course.
All right, come on, man. Hey, take care and God bless, buddy. It was great seeing
You
you.
too. Good to
Say
see you.
say hello to Riley and the rest of the fam.
I will.
All right,
Thank you.
buddy. I'll
See you
talk to you
later.
soon. All right. See you later.
Yep. Yep.